Good morning and hello, I'm Professor Code and this is the Forex Supermodel racing look at the way we stake our bets. Now this has been asked for on the forum, so we'll do what we can for you. So start off then, so staking the racing Forex Supermodel. We come from a Forex background, which is trading foreign currency, and so we're not the usual style of horse racing bettor. And that may suit you or it may not suit you. I can only tell you what we get up to, and it works for us. So anyway, if you look at psychology initially, basic definition: study of the human mind and functions affecting behaviour in a given context. Right. Well, our context is betting on horses. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Now, the building blocks of this are analysis, which if you've been watching our videos, you'll see that we use certain filters, structural filters, ratio filters, and alternate filters. And from those filters, we then execute bets, and the execution of those bets, and then we normally make a video, tell you what we're doing. But it doesn't stop there for us. We then have a monitoring and adjustment phase, which we can't actually pass on to you too much. Most of the time we don't adjust it at all, but occasionally we do. So basically the analysis plus the execution plus the monitoring adjustment equals consistent racing profits in our view. And that's the way you want to view racing as a business. To use the old cliche. If you want to just have a bit of fun, that's fair enough. But for us, it's more than that. We put a lot of time and effort into the situation, and we're trying to push this all the way. So and we're in the early phases really. So that's where we are. So let's get down to business then. So staking. The whole point about staking, in other words, how much you put on, is that it should be a financial reflection of your analysis. Now that's important to say again. The shape of your bets should be a financial reflection of the analysis of the race, and the closer you can reflect the analysis in terms of what you think is going to happen in the style and shape of the bets, then the closer you'll get to the perfect scenario, and you'll get more consistent profits. And the other purpose of staking is to maximize your profits and also minimize your losses. And that's basically the criteria. So if you start out in racing, as a lot of people do, you're not going to be a big hitter. You get yourself a Betfair account now, which gives you access to the sports book as well, which is basically a variation on the theme of combined odds of the major bookmakers. So they sort of give you an average. It's not too bad, the sports book, and the exchanges are useful as well. So you get yourself a Betfair account possibly. We're not recommending it. We've got no influence in that. We've got no financial advantage. But that's a good place to start. Get yourself a Betfair account, and then that'll give you automatic access to the sports book. And assuming you're not super wealthy, you can stick in £100 as a start. So let's assume our staking method will work really regardless of the amount of money you've got, but realistically you need a minimum of about £100. Now what do we know about Betfair accounts in the UK? Well, the minimum stake is about £2. It's not that, it is £2, right? So if you want to do any form of bet on your account, it's £2. So now we split our situation up into units. Now unit it is the sort of big split as far as we're concerned. So we've got one unit, and if we were operating on £100 minimum, and that's the sort of way to start, if you like, then one unit would be, because we like to put a quarter of a unit on bets, so 0.25, then obviously we can't put 50 pence on because that won't allow us to, because the minimum is £2. So a unit in our case, if we're on the £100 account, would be £8. So 1 unit would be £8. 0.25 would be our minimum bet that they allow us to put on, which is £2, and half a unit is £4, and 3/4 of a unit is £6, etc. And then in fractions in between. Slightly more. It makes life slightly more complicated if you're down here, but it's workable. And that's what's important, because we know not everybody wants to put the mortgage on and fill their boots, so that's fair enough. So if you start with £100 and you mentally, from a psychological point of view a unit as £8, and then most of the time, if you watch our videos, we're putting between 0.25 and 0.5 of a unit on. So if you say our average stake is £4. If you divide 100 by 4, you get 25. So you've got 25 goes before you're done in the account, basically, if you don't get a single winner. So that's where we are. So moving on from there then. So bearing in mind that the point of the stake is to be a true reflection of your analysis in financial terms. And beyond that, it's also to maximize your profits and minimize your losses. So it's a risk reward scenario as well. So when you're looking at if supposing you do the analysis on a race, let's take yesterday's all go was at I think it was at Chepstow 135 for the 20th of the 6th 22. So we'll just stop it there anyway and reset the video, because it helps with the editing, so don't go away. Testing, right, we're back. So as we said, imagine we were talking about yesterday's racing at Chepstow on the 20th of June. And we had this, we'd done the analysis and we'd come up with this all go, which came second in the end, but that's irrelevant. Now we were expecting about 2 to 1 on that horse. 2 to 1 is about the absolute minimum we want to have a go at racing, because it just doesn't give you a chance otherwise. You can have a go at lower odds up to down to about evens if you use it as a break-even hedge, but that's another story. So anyway, we had this 2 to 1, and we went on the exchanges and we found that we could get 4 to 1. So the risk reward return for us had suddenly doubled. So we would normally just put the 0.25 of a unit on at 2 to 1, because it's low odds, reasonably high expectancy, but low odds, and then that would be it. So if we had a £100 account, we'd be winning £2, and then we'd have to walk away. But yesterday we managed to see that they were offering 4 to 1, and then suddenly we thought, well, this is twice the odds. We like the horse. We'll pump it up a bit, and we pumped it up. In these terms, we pumped it up to 0.6125 of a unit, and that takes us to £5 on this situation. Now we're using larger stakes than that, obviously. Somebody asked us what stakes we might as well tell you. It doesn't matter. A unit for us is £800. So our standard bet is 200 at 0.25 of a unit. So and that may sound like a lot, but we're used to dealing in larger amounts on Forex, and it sort of suits our way of doing it, because we can feed. So if we're doing 0.25 a unit and we've got £200 to put on, we can feed that in, and as the market's moving around, we can get a feel for it. That's besides the point. Anyway, let's assume you're starting out and you stick your £2 on, and then you see that, hang on a minute, this is better odds. We can go up to another 3 on that, so we get to £5. So anyway, that in our opinion fulfilled the criteria. It reflected the risk return, and it reflected the analysis, and the adjustment wasn't necessary, and in the end the result went against us, but that's just the way it is. So, and the other reason you need to break down these units are is that quite often we use a lever or a hedge. So if we find a horse that's really really nailed on, but the odds are sort of about 6 to 4, 7 to 4, then we can use that as a break-even hedge and then fish for a bigger price, assuming that it's available from the analysis. So so that's where we are. So just to recap. We split a unit up into normally quarters, because if you split them down too much more than that, it affects the ratios of risk and return as well. So because if you want to do like a 6 to 4 anchor break-even point at £2, that'll give you £3 to play with, and then you can put £3 on, say, a 5 to 1 shot. Equivalent anyway, and then you've got three fives of 15. You can make £15 less your £2 hedge, so you get £13 out of it for a risk of £5 in total. So anyway, we're getting into other areas now, but if you'd like me to do any more videos and explain in more depth the sort of some more areas that would interest you, then that's where we are. But I think that basically explains it. The smaller you are, the less manoeuvring you've got for feeding in and reflecting the bets. But you can do it off £100 at a £2 minimum 0.25 stake, where your unit is £8. So anyway, I hope that was useful and didn't witter on too much, and we'll go from there. So thanks for subscribing and the general interest you've shown in the channel, and let me know if what you think of what we've just said, and we'll go forward from there. So goodbye.